Check. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our TVET webinar held by International Office and Informatics Education Department, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Sebelas Maret University. Thank you for all of the participants who have joining in this TVET webinar. Today, I think that is very exciting moment for us. We can learn each other's between technical, vocational education and training experts, TVET policymakers, TVET educators, and students from Indonesia and also from Southeast Asia, from Malaysia, Philippines, and Laos and others. We will discuss more deeply with in this industry expert today. The first, I'd like to say thank you to Dean of Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Sebelas Maret University, Mr. Dr. Mardiana, MSc. Thank you for coming, sir. And also the big thank to all of the speakers from industry expert, Mr. Rizky Nugroho from Oil and Gas Company, and also Mr. Teguh Iskanto from IT industry, Telstra Australia, and also the Mr. Eko Suprapto Pratomo, remote worker professional. Thank you for coming, sir. And from the experience, I think we will be very useful for us to learn from them side. Thank you for coming today. Hello, Mr. Rizky, Mr. Teguh, and Mr. Eko.
Good morning, Pak Tauib.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pak Eko.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Thank you for joining.
Okay, sure.
Okay, it will be grateful for us to discuss about the topics of vocational graduates challenge in the new normal era from industry perspectives. I think this is very appropriate and suitable topics for us to discuss in the response of crisis by COVID-19 that have effect to all aspects, included education and also the industry sector. But before we start the webinars, allow me to start some reminders for you as all of the participants. The first is this webinar will live by Zoom and also the YouTube live. And then all of the participants will be mute by the host during the presentation. Each of the speakers will present 15 minutes. And then after that, during the presentation, you can type your question and also and comment in the comment box. Please state your name and also your organization. And committee will monitor question and comments, and we will be answered during Q&A session later. And then the most important is in the end of this webinar, the committee will share the form for the e-certificate. So that's why please follow this webinar until the end of this webinar. Next, we will go to the next agenda is opening speech by Dean of Faculty of Teacher Training and also Education, Mr. Dr. Mardiana, MSc. Mr. Mardiana, the floor is yours.
Good. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Honorable TVET Director under TVET Networks, especially for Deans of representing PubTech Indo Forum, dear TVET Coordinator, TVET Lecturers, and TVET students in Indonesia and Southeast Asia. Also, dear Master Rizky Nugroho, Master Teguh Sukanto, and Master Eko S. Wibowo, the speaker in this webinar. Good morning and welcome to our TVET webinar held by International Office and Informatics Education Department, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Sebelas Maret University. This TVET webinar is one of our events to respond to the condition of COVID-19 epidemic that affects to all of our life, including education sector. Today, we live in new normal era in condition and post COVID-19 pandemic that require new behaviors, new challenges, new opportunity, and also new competency. Education institution must adaptive to all of the changes. Related to TVET institution, this condition is very challenging. During COVID-19 pandemic, most of learning process use learning from home methods using online platform. However, skill and competence require hand-on process in the real condition of work. In other hand, industrial sector has accelerated rapidly driven by customer demands and the industry revolution 4.0. The work requirement is more touch for TVET graduates. Need more preparation. If we don't aware for this condition, we will fall behind. TVET institution must be in line with industry, closer relationship. In Indonesia, currently the government is actively developing vocational education and training. One of the program is Maret with industry that encourage link and met cooperation between vocational institution and industry to minimize the skills gap. This webinar aims to provide us with another insight from industry perspectives. Well, we prepare our vocational graduates to be ready facing the challenges in the future. In the new normal era, post-COVID-19 and Industry 4.0 challenges. We are very lucky to have the industry expert here as speakers from the various industry segments. Hopefully, this TVET webinar will give more insights for us so we can improve our TVET education continuously. Thank you very much for all speakers, Mr. Rizky Nugroho, Mr. Teguh Sukanto, Mr. Eko S. Wibowo, for your time in this TVET seminar. Hopefully, we can continue this conference in the future. Lastly, as Dean of Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, on behalf of Sebelas Maret University, we are thanks you for all participants have joined in this TVET webinar. We hope you can enjoy this TVET webinar and get more insights. We have more program in the future. Hopefully you can join and our relationship will be closer and more intensive. Thank you for our committee from International Office and Informatics Education Department for all the best preparation. Keep your good work. I think that's all my speech. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Mardiana. Maybe you will special greeting for the members of Public Indo. Here, I think many members is joining here.
I think there is Mr. Dinur Kudus from UNES, I think join in this. Good morning, Mr. Nur Kudus.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dr. Mardiana Messi, for as a Dean of Faculty of Teacher Training and Education. All of the participants, before we start, again, I'd like to remind of all of the participants in this case that we would like you to participate as much as you can, but to make the participation is more effective and efficient, we would like you to again to identify yourself in the case in the Zoom chat room or YouTube, so you can send the message, and then later we will discuss during Q&A session. Okay, without further ado, we should start with the first speakers. In this case, we will start with Mr. Rizky Nugroho, Human Resource Manager from Citic Seram Limited, one of the oil and gas company. Hello, Mr. Rizky.
Hello, and all.
Okay. Mr. Rizky is a graduate from Pajajaran University and also the University of Indonesia. His experience in the more than 15 years of HR professional at worldwide upstream oil and gas, power plant, banking, consulting with strength of human capital management, and also he has also in the Pertamina previous. And then from his experience, I think we will be useful for us to learn from his side. Okay, I'd like to give the opportunity to Mr. Rizky to present his presentation. Mr. Rizky, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pak Tauib. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Pak Mardiana, for welcoming me to join this event and all the committee. So, yeah, I would like to share my experience, my observation regarding current conditions. Okay, let me try to connect the screen first. Okay, can you all see my screen right now? Okay, just let me know if you have any difficulties to see. Okay. Okay, my presentation today, I will share about the conditions. Again, how we adapt to the rapid change of the world right now. So, without further ado, let me share my presentations. Okay, brief of my profile already shared by Pak Tauib, so I will skip this slide. Actually, I have several articles several years ago. The portal HR. Portal HR is the Indonesian HR consultant, which is shared to all HR practitioners especially in Indonesia. But unfortunately the article in Bahasa. So if you have any question in English, just shoot me email and I will try to help to respond it. Okay, so before we make a conclusion or some analysis about how we respond to our current world condition, so I would like to share or refresh for you about our current world conditions today. Okay, so hopefully my explanation will be less than 15 minutes. So just briefly update all of the information that I gather at the internet. So basically all the information you can also find at the internet that I gather from most of the top 5 consultant, management consultants such as McKinsey, Boston Consulting Groups, Conferry and such. So from the research, the data said that yes, several years ago, we also facing the problem of scarcity of the talents. I think until right now, especially in my industry also, even though in the current conditions, low economics, the talent is still rare in the market, especially to ensure their capability that fit to the company needs, means all the industry needs. And from the research, as you can see in the left side, from the McKinsey said, most of the CEO is concerning about the availability of the key skills. Each industry, each company have different specific skill set that require from the talent. So this is one of the challenge for us to ensure our profile, our competency profiles, and also the university can produce or help us to shape our competency that meet the industry needs. And especially in the Southeast Asia, the talent is, I mean, the population is quite high. After this slide, I will show you how many the population in Southeast Asia. But in terms of the talent, again, I think most of the consultants, most of the company say they are not sure whether the population, whether the talent is sufficient to fit with their requirement. And based on the research also, they said 10 days after the graduates available at the market, they will be quickly hired by the company. And then this condition also impact by the regulation. As we know, especially Southeast Asia already implement the free trade stipulations, which is most of the talent not only came from our current country, means like Indonesia, the talents is in Indonesia, but also came from other country or other regions. For example, in my current company, most of the talent is in Indonesia, but also several expats from China. And my previous industry also in power plant, there are several expats in Korea, Japan, Australia, and such. So I think this is also the challenge of our current market talent, which is the market is competing each other in each region, each country.
Pak Rizky?
Yes.
Pak Rizky, sorry for interrupt.
Okay.
I think the voice is not clearly enough, Pak.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe
okay.
you use the headset is better, I think.
Okay, Pak. I will try to speak up.
Yeah, okay.
More clearly.
Yeah,
thank you. Okay, next is from the data that I already told you before. This is the statistic of the population in Southeast Asia. So in terms of the population itself, currently Southeast Asia is contributing 8.5% from the total population of the world. So quite big enough contribution from Southeast Asia. And from this data, I just like to show you that as you know, our current population is more high portion in the young age. Like as you see from this data, the average age of the Southeast Asia is around 30 years old. So the industry is also adapting with these conditions. Means, as you know, the research, Gen Y, Gen Z, and such, the company is adapting with this. The leadership also adapting, the process internally in company is adapting in this situation. So the market also adapting with this rapid change of the population of the young age. And next, I think you also know about this studies that yes, several decades ago, starting 1784, the industry is also evolving. Means from the industry 1.0 until today, industry 1.0, which is from the early days, which is the industry is more industrial, means producing the like cars, power plants and such. But today, as we know, the industry is more like informational, cyber physics system, internet things, and everything. And also
Hello, Pak Rizky.
Yes, Pak.
Pak Rizky.
Yes, Pak. Yes, Pak Toib.
Halo, Pak Rizky.
Yes, Pak Toib. Halo. Halo, Pak Toib. Is it my voice clear enough? Hello.
Yeah, I think please go on, Pak Eko. I think that's tolerable. Thank you.
Okay. So sorry for that, because currently I'm still adapting my working, which is I'm working from elsewhere, public area, not at home. So sorry about that. So let me continue my presentation. So also from the companies applying the global market strategy, which is they implement the global and local strategy in the same time. So besides they implement resourcing from several country, and also they are implementing the marketing strategy by diversity strategy in several countries also. So most of like FMCG is like Unilever, P&G, all the products and goods they resource from the emerging countries, but they also marketing to other growing countries also. And what I want to tell you about this is regarding the strategy also, the company also acquiring the talent from its regions, means like India, Malaysia, Singapore, and other regions. They are also engaging with this talent to ensure their marketing strategy, their production strategy is can fit with the regional or the country situation also. Okay, next. So, like I said, the industry evolution also already changing, spin into 4.0, which is more internet and computerized things. Some of the country, as you see from this informations, also starting the AI. AI is the artificial intelligence to adapt with their country. Strategy, policies, and also the company itself. So as you see, like Japan, they also already starting the AI policy to be implemented with their current country in March 2017, and continue with like Kenya, Mexico, Philippines in the following years, mean 2018, 2019, and such. But the other country is still preparing this AI strategy to can be adapt with their company policies or the country policy, I mean. And specifically about the AI trends, as you see from the right corner, the AI itself, like 5G network, robotics, edge computer, auto driving, as maybe some of you in Singapore, as I know, there's also some automobile driving taxis and everything that already implemented, and maybe will be also implemented in several countries in following years. And then in terms of the energy sectors, energy industry, as we know, the fuel industry also exploring until today, which is unfortunately, as we know, the fossil fuel cannot be renewable. So most of the industry, most of the country also try to develop the or shifting from the oil and gas industry into the renewable, like wind or geothermal and such. So from this presentation, you can see that several also big company in like Indonesia, Philippines, Mexico also have developing this renewable energy. And from this data, what I'm trying to show you, the market or the availability of the job opportunity is more to the renewable energy also. So instead growing in the fossil fuel, like my current company, oil and gas, they instead of hiring more new talent, they try to reduce the cost to maintain the cost efficiently, and shifting, if they have the opportunity to shift to other renewable energy, so they will be shift to that kind of business. And then, sorry, let me close this, okay. So suddenly, as we know, in end of the 2019, suddenly the coronavirus came to us without information from the government. I don't know. I don't want to discuss whether this coronavirus is a biochemical weapon or not, but this is what the fact is currently happening, which is this coronavirus is impacting to our industry, impacting to our business, impacting to our life today. So we have to cope with this. As you know, the virus, from the experts say, WHO, the virus will be stay longer, not will be finished in this year, maybe in several years later. So we have to find another, like we say, new normal way of life to cope with this situation. Okay, maybe as you know also, I just want to highlight how this coronavirus is very, very impactful to our industry. Especially in Indonesia, some of the restaurants, some of the business already closing, some of the traditional market also impacting with this. And yeah, layoff is everywhere. But yeah, every time we face this situation, this challenging situation, I think there are also the opportunity. for us as a talent, for us as industry practitioners. So yeah, let we think about this first and develop ourselves to be ready when the market is also revived from these pandemic situations. Sorry for this. Okay, as for information, specifically for the oil and gas industry, that also impacting to the shipping means very large crude tanker vessel, which is currently cannot be mobilized until today. So this is also the first time in history that oil and gas suffering like this. Means the oil is in minus, as you see from the left graphic. In March, we facing the oil and gas price minus 40, which is this condition is never happened before in our historical pricing oil price. And the left graphic that should to show this is a crude oil tanker transportation in world that they cannot done their work, which is they cannot transfer the oil from the producing country into the marketing country because this pandemic situation. So this oil price situation also impact by the how the oil tanker can be mobilized from country to country. So, like I said, if there are a challenging situation in the other side, there are also industry or company can have the benefit from this situation. What are the some of the benefit company from this situation can gain the benefit from this situation? As you know, maybe like we're using today is Zoom applications. There are also several other internet or software application that can significantly grow or gain profit from these situations. Yeah, from the chart you can see even Zoom stock price is not double but very high, even from the compared to 7 largest airline stock performance early days from January to May this year. So yeah, I think this is one of the highlight that we can make a conclusion that yeah, industry 4.0 is already here, and most of the industry is more growing into the internet, computer, and such. So just want to tell you, instead of the real industry like oil and gas, power plant, and such, the more opportunity is will came from the internet industries. Okay, like I said before, from the history, we already facing the the economic downturn or depression like this since 1857. Even America or the other region with economic downturn because of the industry, or the like in early 2000 2007 until 2008, as we know, also from the subprime mortgage in America, also we facing the economic downturn that impact to the bank. I've been there too, facing the situation, layoff in everywhere. Yeah, so I think the message from this chart, we have done this before, we facing this problem before, and we should adapting this situation and be ready in the future. Okay, what is I found from the Wharton University. So from the research, I not would like to explain more detail about the research, but what I found from their finding is after this post-COVID-19 world is become less global and less urban. So it's contradictive with my slide before, which is in early days, company is adapting the global local strategies, marketing strategy, production strategy, but in terms of the post-COVID-19 situations, so the company, the industry is also adapting with this. There will be more implementing the less global and less urban marketing and production strategy. Why? Because as we know, they want to avoid the employee to be exposed with the COVID-19. Okay, I have some video that maybe can help you to more understand about these pandemic situations. I captured it in the YouTube, as you know, as you can see from the below the link. Okay, let us see about the video first.
Empty streets have become the new normal during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thousands laid off or furloughed, stores shut down, public gatherings banned, travel restrictions and physical distancing imposed, as a third of the world practices some form of a lockdown to slow down the spread of COVID-19. And all of this is having an impact on our global economy. Industries like airlines, import-export companies, tourism, retailers, events, restaurants, and many other non-essential services have been hit, some harder than others. The United Nations says we may see a $2 trillion shortfall in our global income and a $220 billion hit to developing countries, excluding China, because of COVID-19.
It's catastrophic. We've never seen anything like this. We have a huge portion of the economy and people under lockdown, and that's going to have a huge impact on what can be produced and not produced.
Many services have been able to go digital in an effort to continue running their business, such as e-learning, online fitness classes, food and grocery delivery services, and telecommunication apps.
We're seeing this massive push that's going to result in all kinds of services being available remotely that previously weren't.
And many companies have been able to adapt to working from home, a new pattern that seems to be forming as a part of our new reality.
I think this is certainly going to be one of the long-term legacies of this crisis, is that people will work differently and will interact differently. The crisis is going to motivate capability development and the energy and imperative to move to digital.
But there are many industries that can't switch to a digital platform and continue functioning, such as hair salons, spas, events, movie theaters, and the tourism industry.
80% of the Canadian economy is services. And most of those services require some kind of a personal touch, not all, kind of necessarily high touch, but and those businesses are really just kind of getting slammed. So if they can't pivot to digital online fulfillment and purchase, then they're basically shut down. So if you're in that worst case scenario of can't transform my business model into digital, and if you're a non-staple type of purchase and you have low financial resilience, access to cash and credit, that's where we're going to see carnage first.
But a particular industry that is experiencing both the positive and negative effects from COVID-19 is the oil industry. While the steep decline in gas prices isn't good for countries which rely on oil exports, it's a good thing for consumers and can be a benefit to the global economy.
An oil price decline of this magnitude is typically a significant benefit for the global economy in a sort of synchronized downturn, because yes, oil exporting countries have a lot less revenue, but they constitute a much smaller share of global consumers than the oil importing countries do. And when you want a global recovery to begin or strengthen, you really have to have the largest number of people face a declining price of an item that they always buy, namely oil. So overall, this is a benefit, in my opinion, in the short run for the global economy.
It's only been a few weeks since parts of the world have essentially come to a halt, so figuring out how long this economic decline will last is a challenge.
Very difficult to call.
I have to stop this video. Maybe we can see it later because just to avoid the session is more longer because there are another presentation also. So sorry about that. So I will change my screen again to my presentations. Okay. So just continue my presentation here. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Yeah, like I said from the early presentations that, yeah, as you maybe also know that what we are facing today is our world is already in VUCA situations, mean more volatile, uncertainty, complex, and ambiguity. This is the main topics, I think, from my presentations, that all the industry, we as a talent, mean some also practitioners or the company should be adapting with these situations. And what are growing in the accelerating trends in the futures, yeah, like I said, technology, online delivery, e-commerce, global, local and sourcing still, and also flexibility of working contracts. For example, what is the internet industry also, like I said, like Amazon, they also have specific arrangement with the labor in Indonesia. So without opening the big office in Indonesia, the Amazon America also hiring the other talent from other country also. And sorry, my presentation may be a little bit delayed. Yeah, the key ideas also how we can adapt with these situations means in terms of the traits that we have to develop in ourselves is how we can resilience with these challenging situations. And this is I think my last slide, which is the key strength that we can see also from several consultants like PwC, BCG's, Conferry. They also convey the same message, means how we adapt, how we keep connect with the VUCA world, how we change our problem solving skills, and also collaborating with others. So I think as a talent, vocational talents or the graduates should also aware of this. So instead, only specific, developing specific technical skill like engineering, computering, and also, but please be aware that you have also developed the leadership skills, means like adaptability, resilience, business acumen in your competency profile. So, closing my presentations, the conclusion is please prepare yourself, prepare your career in the future, what kind of career, what kind of company, what kind of jobs that you would like to gain in the future, and be prepared of yourself, competency, the CV, portfolio, certification, also language, because the talent mobility is still there. And also the market is resourcing the talent from every region in the world. So also keep developing your network, professional network, so the opportunity can be gained from the network also. So this is my end presentations. Yeah, the quote is, you are the architect of your future career. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rizky, for interesting presentation. Later, we will collect the question which directed to you. Thank you. Let's move on to the next presentation. We would like to invite the next speaker to get the non-Indonesia perspective. Please welcome to Pak Teguh Iskanto from Telstra Australia. Pak Teguh Iskanto, halo Pak.
Siap Pak Tauhib.
Yes, I will introduce you first. The Pak Teguh is currently is a senior technology specialist, cyber security and security engineering from the Telstra, one of the telecommunication company in the Australia. He was 13 years in the Telstra, and with the different background, I think it's good enough for the get the another perspective. Especially from the IT perspective. He was graduate from the University of Indonesia and also the University of the Melbourne. Okay, without further ado, Pak Teguh, the floor is yours, Pak.
Thank you, Pak Tauhib. First of all, I would like to thank you for the University of Sebelas Maret for having me on this talks, and would like to say congratulations for having these talks, and I think this is good to have sort of like, you know, a set of breath of having collaboration between different countries, different industry leader and partnership, which is really good, and which we need to move forward on this. Of course, also like to welcome Pak Mardiana for His Excellency for the Dean of the Faculty and the staff from University of Sebelas Maret and the respected guests. I'm going to prepare my slide deck. Let me just give me a minute. Let me just present now. Hopefully, let me just share screen. Just give me a minute. This one. Share and I'll present. Can anyone see the screen?
Yeah, that's clear.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. 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 I'm not going to talk about myself. So if you would like to know me more, there's a LinkedIn profile there, so you can look at that one. And I've got my email address as well. So if you want to have some sort of a question, Q&A or whatever and whatnot, please feel free to send an email to me, and more than happy to answer whatever your question that you have. First of all, I mean, I'm trying to propose the argument first, rather than just creating what I call the conclusion at the end. But the thing is, what I propose is first is we need to be able to find our true self, and then find opportunity within ourselves. And with that in mind, we would like to, you know, unlock our true potential, because my belief and my understanding is that everyone has got their own true potential, which sometimes is not being truly used. So hopefully by this talks and presentation, this will give something like at least a bit of you know, perspective from yourself and from other people, hopefully. Probably you'll be asking, what's the correlation between unlocking one's potential and the challenges of new normal era? So probably this is not about what we call the self-empowering or something, but I think this is something like something that is inevitable that we need to look into, especially during this kind of challenging times. First, before we move on, we need to check the facts, the one that we've got now. I mean, if you happen to look at the technology development from back in the 80s up to the early 2000s, as you can see from the slides, in 1983, the Motorola and probably the Nordic telecommunication, they come up with some sort of like AMPS, which is the analog telephone. The standard was well received in 1980s, and but along the way, and then I put that one on the right-hand side, iPhone 2007. We're not going to talk about iPhone 11, whatever, because I think this is the pivot point where everything starts to accelerate. Even before that, which I will show you later on. So from 1983, where the AMPS are being released in the market, back to 2007 iPhone, you've got like a span of 24 years. 24 years. So it's a bit a long time. And then if you move across from left to the center, you see there's we call this J phone, which is from Panasonic. They release what's called the first camera in handheld cell phone. So that's in 2000. But if you look at from 2007 to 2000, it's only like a 7 years gap. And if you look at after that one, there's a Nokia 2003, which is they call it the ugly phone. They call this a taco. Taco is like a Mexican what they call staple food, where you can just fold. It's a flop product, but the thing is, on its time back in 2000, early 2000, it was quite revolutionary, because this is the first time when a phone can have a platform where people can play games. At the same time, you have a color what they call screen, and you have the ability to make some phone calls. So this is 2003, and if you look at that one, the gaps from 2000 and 2003 is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So from 24 years to 7 years, and now 4 years. So you can see the acceleration of the technology is getting much faster and much faster. So, and then 2007, you've got the iPhone first generation, which is really like becoming the pivotal revolution of all the technology. Because from that on, Apple has been really smart in introducing its product. Not only were they introducing the product, but they come up with some sort of like ecosystem inside it, something like the App Store, all those kind of stuff. So that will increase the the speed and acceleration on technology. So people are creating apps, someone who have not even thought that it would work before, or even the production or the the industry would never thought that this is going to work. But after the one, you have the Android, you have the whole thing, and then you have the Windows jumping on the bandwagon, and so on and so forth. With this one as well, you have the cloud. So everything is going to be speed up from this.
Pak Teguh, hello.
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, Pak, continue, Pak. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Pak. Sorry.
Okay. Next one is before this one, you can see that there's inevitable facts that technology will keep changing, and it's going to be speed up really more. Like the acceleration is going to be really high. Probably in the coming years, it's going to accelerate more rapidly. This is an inevitable fact that we have to accept, unfortunately. The other one, the one that we need to look into, like just now, the previous presentation would say that we're not going to see COVID is another a crisis that we were going to see the final one. So after COVID, we would never know in the future there's going to be another one, or as you can see from, I'm just collecting the data from the Standard & Poor and the New York Stock Exchange, and you can see something like when it comes to .com bubble, everything are hyped up, and then when the .com bubble bursts, all the markets just going crashing down, and then you've got this U.S. housing, which is the subprime mortgage issues, everything crashed, going down, and then you've got this 2008 global financial crisis, everything is crashing down. What they don't see on this one is you got an Asian crisis here, which is 1998, and I'm quite lucky living in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s and now, so I've been able to experience those. When I was working in Singapore, when I just finished off graduating from uni back in 1997, it was the early start of the financial crisis, Asian financial crisis. At that time, I can't have any job. That's the reality. So when I'm, long story short, managed to get a scholarship going to the NTU, National Nanyang Technological University, and then over there, once I finish off from NTU, there's another crisis, a SARS. So every industry will get impacted as well. Now, moving on to Australia, I've got another, like, the global financial crisis, and now we have what's so called COVID-19. So definitely, we're not going to see this will be the last. We're going to see this over time. So this is inevitable fact that we need to accept, unfortunately. So the question is, given the fact that technology has keep changing, and they're going to be changing rapidly in the coming years, and there's also uncertainty condition that sometimes those world market is and the condition is really challenging. And how do we survive in this kind of condition? This is a big question mark for us. How do I guarantee that our quote unquote job security? How do we maintain ourselves to be marketable? How do we maintain ourselves to be always productive and efficient? This is something like a big question mark for us. So it comes into what's so called quite a time for us to keep pondering what's happening. If you look at from the earlier issues from the global crisis, you can see the technology. People would say, "Oh, this is doom and gloom," and how am I going to survive on this one? But the thing is, we can always look at the other side of the coins, or what we can see the perspective. Is the perspective the one that we need to change? It's not the world that we need to blame. Like, that's why if you see the glass is half full, some pessimists would say, "Oh, the glass is just half full, sorry, half empty." But the optimist would say the glass is half full. So if you look at from the following perspective, they are all the same, but it's just the way how you see the situation and the condition. So this is something that we need to change. It's not the world that we need to be worried about. It's how we perceive the world. I think that's what is really important. This is something like sorry, I do apologize if I take some of the meme in the internet, but I think this is really good. I mean, although it's meant to be, for a humorous way, but the thing is, this is something that we need to ponder upon. Elon Musk, you probably know Elon Musk. He's known for the Tesla. He's known for the SpaceX. He's known for Solar City. He's known for Hyperloop, all those kind of stuff. What Elon is doing is he, instead of blaming the world, he creates opportunity on what's in front of him. I happened to look at one of his videos where he got interviewed, and then he was asked how you get into this industry, and then he was saying that, you know what, when I first finished off graduate, I tried to apply for a job in Netscape back in the 90s, because he was living in the 90s and the 80s. Netscape used to be like, the Microsoft. Netscape was the only internet browser at that time before being taken over by Microsoft. He was saying he's applying for a job, and when he got rejected, and he was saying that, since nobody wants to accept me in this company, I guess I have to find my own company. So the rest is just history. So he was saying that he want to send money over the internet, because the transaction through banking, wire banking transfer is going to take so much time, and so on and so forth. So he, with his brother at that time, invented PayPal. So once, and the rest is just history. And then and if you look into that, this is what he's been used to, like, trying to come up with something from the opportunity in front of him. This is what he was doing. So Elon wants to have like an electric car, so he said, okay, let's build an electric car. Something that probably worth telling is that I'll look into the video where he got interviewed about SpaceX, because SpaceX is just like really brilliant, the way how they do the what they call this space engineering. revolutionize the human travel through space, all this kind of stuff. So what really got me interested is that if you happen to look at the stories behind it, at that time when he was quite successful with all his ventures with the PayPal, all this kind of stuff, he was saying that I'm really interested in moving people to Mars because he wanted to have human travel, multi-planetary, this kind of stuff. So he trying to sketch up the ideas on how he can get there. So out of that, from that sketch, he thought that the best way to acquire a rocket at that time was to get from the Soyuz base station in Russia. So he gathered with his friends, his mates, to go on a private jet plane to Russia, just trying to acquire a rocket. And during that time, his friends was trying to convince him that this is such a bad idea. You shouldn't go into this, because throughout the plane travel from US to Russia, his friend was showing him and how the explosive of the rocket, that it's not going to be like in a straightaway process. You're going to have like a lot of flops. You're going to have a lot of failure on this kind. This is how the ball of fires will explode, those kind of stuff. But he kept himself like, no, I'm going to go with, going to purchase this from Russia. And long story short, once he arrived in Russia, he got to meet one of the chief engineer of one of the Soyuz project. And he was sitting in front of the Soyuz project officer and was saying that the chief officer was quite arrogant. He literally spat at him something like, he is nobody. You are just someone, the kids on the block is just trying to get into the industry. Who are you? I mean, if you don't like my price, go get away from me, something like that one. So he was really disappointed by the way how they've been received. And along that period, his friends were saying that, okay, I think we managed to convince him not to go into this industry because this is just a bad idea. So on the way back from Russia to America, his friend was fist pumping like, yeah, finally we managed to convince Elon. The friends on the flights from Russia to US, they are all sleeping on the cabin, whereas Elon was working on the math on how they can look into the raw material to create a rocket and all this kind of stuff. And he was saying that once they arrive in US, he waked the friends. I think I know how to solve these issues. I think we should build this one in the US because the raw material is much cheaper here than in the Russia, and we can save a lot of like by 30%. So his friends were like, oh my God, not this one again. So if you've been facing with some sort of like adversity, which is the challenging stuff, you don't quit. You find a solution. And long story short, you can see that SpaceX is the only one, that revolutionized the virtual takeoff, virtual landing on the space, simply because if you are sending your space outside and then you drop the pylons into the sea, it's going to take a lot of money and cost to recover and then to refurbish. It's pretty much just like gone. So they have to find a way how to reuse that pylon to be able to be used on the next launch. So that's why they come up with some sort of solution how to create a way to do a virtual landing and virtual takeoff. That's the way how they did it, and they are very successful. They are very successful. So we should learn from what they are doing. Of course, he is Elon. Like, not many people have many Elon, even in the US. I mean, he is being like praised as sometimes some really genius or whatever. But the thing, at least what we can look from this occasion is that that's how we build resiliency. We have to do it. If you're being faced with adversity, you don't quit. You push through. You find a solution to it. And that's how engineering works. This is another a good news. You can take this news into a perspective. If you can't see the dates here, is 17th of June 2020. The title is from Reuters, is a Tesla signs 3-year pricing deal with battery cell maker Panasonic. So it turned out that Panasonic has got exclusive supplier for Tesla. So we happen to look at the Tesla X model, Y model, Model 3 or whatever. The battery itself is not produced by Tesla, but being produced by Panasonic. So then from here, you start to think, if Panasonic was the one who created the whole batteries, which is the core of what Tesla is doing, why didn't they create the electric car in the first place? Big question marks, right? That's why, because you need to build some sort of like resiliency, the passion of finding a solution, the love of engineering. That's what you need to do, and then that's from the end you create opportunity instead of tapping along on someone else's opportunity. You create your own opportunity. I think that's what really become the bottom line of this one, and this is something that something like worth sharing for everyone. And if you look at this one on the news, it says Tesla reported its third consecutive quarterly profit. That means in 1 year, every 3 months, they have been profiting, while as other companies are losing money. So how would they do that? That's a big question. How would they do that? That's something that we need to ponder upon. And then with that much of perspective and mental perspective, that's probably what we need to adopt. Okay, now back to Earth. If you were saying that, Pak Teguh, that's Elon Musk, that's Tesla. Even in the US, not many people are doing the what you call Tesla thingy. He can do so many stuff, and because he's brilliant. Okay, how if we try to bring to Earth to the reality? Okay, I've got some couple of a sample that we can probably look into how the resiliency and how we create opportunity. One of them is one of the I saw him before in one of the talks, and then I look into the YouTube video, and then this guy is quite amazing. Although he's coming from the quite a well-off family, so his parents managed to send him to the US to school to be educated in Purdue University, which is a top Ivy League, and then got a Harvard MBA and so on and so forth. But the thing is, what I find from his interview is that there was a time when he was working in McKinsey Consulting. McKinsey Consulting or Boston Consulting is quite one of the top tier consulting. And he got tired of working in here and there, and said, I'm going to take a break. So what he did was that he quit from his job and then went on a land trip towards the Vietnam with a motorcycle. Along the way, he was looking at how it is best to create an opportunity for the low-level income, and then to help them. And then throughout the journey, he was saying that I think I'm going to be interested in doing the the social entrepreneurship, whereas empowering those people who have the low income, while at the same time creating a new market for them. So he came on what they call the Ruma. Ruma is something like empowering, like like GoPay. People like in mom and dad shop. What I call mom and dad shop is something like a toko kelontong, where you've been given an Android phone or whatever phone, and then within that phone, it's got the apps where you can pay electrical bill, you can pay water, all this kind of stuff. So not only would he empowering the local community, he's bridging the gap for people who are in the remote areas to go into the city just to pay for bill. So this kind of stuff. He, fortunately now, become the CEO of a GoPay. But I followed him and I look into him long before he went become the CEO of GoPay. But this is one of the example that you need to find within yourself the solution, and then that's how you build resiliency. You don't quit when you're being faced with adversity and challenge. Another one is, you probably know this, Dr. Gamal Albin Said. If you look at the previous slide, the Aldi Herio, Bapak Aldi, who was the CEO of GoPay, he's coming from the well-off family, which is the parents can send him to Ivy League education institution in the US. But look at the Gamal Albin Said. He's coming from a very humble beginning. He's from the Jawa Timur. He's from Malang. He's graduated from what's it called, Ubrawijaya University, and he was a doctor. He is still a doctor. And then he came into mind that he got inspired because his passion is about helping people. His passion is about become a doctor for other people. And he looked into an occasion whereby he come into an event where he saw one of the daughter of a rickshaw driver, a tukang beca, pass away because he couldn't afford to have proper healthcare. So he took him really hard to himself, and then there has to be something out of this. There has to be something, a solution for this. So he kept thinking around, and he came out with some sort of like a ingenious solution, which is people who cannot afford to have like in a healthcare system, they can pay them through by collecting garbages, of course, the recycled plastics, which is being sent every now and then. And then from that, what do you call, recycled garbage, that's becoming the insurance and become something like the payment. The way how you pay something is through that one. And because his ingenious idea is really working on his community, he got promoted and then got a award from the British National Award, whatever. And then he got become a speaker in the US, in the UNESCO, or in the UK. So he's just got an award on that one. So looking at that one, he's coming from a humble beginning. His parent is not well off. He's someone who is what I call a really good at that one. So that's what he really is. So what what I'm trying to point out is that regardless of what you're doing, you are well off or not, you still have to find some sort of like challenges on that one. Another example is this is something like, probably this should be give you some sort of like an example on what you're gonna be, regardless what your condition. This guy is Joe Bernard. He is a guy who what they call create a kit for doing the control of the rocket, just for a hobby. He's coming from the music production college. He's coming from a music production college, and he doesn't have any engineering backgrounds, not engineering background whatsoever. But he saw the what we call the launch of SpaceX become something like a spark on his side to say something like, I want to do this, and I think I found my passion on this one. So along the way, you can see this one. He read himself books and try and error, all those kind of control, and then he built himself and designed the PCB and control of the rocketry. And then he created this one, and he sold this one on the internet. So you can see how people become from quote unquote ordinary become extraordinary. The question is, what do they have in common? The answer is passion and courage. Sorry, yep. Let me see how many. Okay. 5 minutes. Okay. what I'm trying to say is that we need to be like, fail fast and fail often. We need to find our courage, and we need to find what's our true invention within ourselves. We don't quit when you being faced by challenges, and this is what you need to do. And so much so that failing is really important. In MIT, they gather this protocol event called fail, something like you don't fail when failing. So something to give something like some sort of a resilience. And from another one is from the Jeff Bezos. He's one of the wealthiest, 130 billions. He's saying the smartest people are constantly revising their understanding, this considering a problem that they thought that they already solved. Smart people are actually wrong a lot. So because you don't expect people to be right all the time. So if you make mistakes, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because if you are making mistakes, you are learning from your mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, then you're not learning anything. That's probably my take on this one. And this is something like that you probably can look into, like you have a comfort zone, you have a fear zone, your learning zone, your growth zone. So you need to you have to push yourself beyond your comfort zone to be able to be in a growth zone, because that's how you learn and it helps you become the better person. And of course, you have to find your passion. This is something like a journey. I mean, some people reach their peak, their pinnacle of in the career. It's not always like, always the first, but like Marie Curie, they are on the 30s, on the 30s, and make sure that you are being surrounded by good people, good energy, good people, like-minded. So it's important. So this is something like another one, apart from mastering the hard skills, what you need to do. My take is on this is, put it this way. There's a research in Boston College. They did a research on 81 graduates who was getting the valedictorian. This is the top 5%, which average GPA of 3.6. Out of research for 20 years, 60% has a graduate degree. Okay, good, excellent. 90% have professional careers. Excellent. 40% are highest on T jobs. Okay, excellent. But 0% have managed to change the world or make an impact in the community. That's probably something that we need to ponder upon. I mean, the reason why this research is saying that is because in the real life, you've been thrown into a different perspective. The parameters is not fixed, and you have to deal with those kind of adversaries. And also the bamboo ceiling phenomenon. This is another one which what I call a phenomenon which is happening not in the US, in the Australia as well. Bamboo ceiling is something like the paradox or the phenomenon whereby top 5% of the Ivy Leagues in the Silicon Valley, they are on the best of the graduates, but only less than 3.5% managed to secure into the executive positions. Throughout the research, it was said that the problem is not because of the literacy. The problem is not about the competency of the aptitude, but the problem is with the communication skills, leadership skills, how to solve the problem, those kind of stuff. So apart from having the hard skills, you need to polish up your soft skills, like the previous presenter was saying as well. So you need to polish up the soft skills as well. And this is something that I'm really interested. A Tuxman team development cycle. Whatever you are, you become the leader of your community, become a leader of the company, or you are the leader of the institution. You'll be going through what's called a Tuxman development time cycle, whereby people would become like, forming, storming, and norming, and performing. When you are being gathered with the similar people, you get, okay, this is good. We are forming something. Then become a storming. Storming is something like, okay, we have the friction between one and the other, and then, I couldn't work with this guy, those kind of stuff. So you'll be having like a storming and norming, swinging back and forth. Without the good, without the good managerial skills, without the good leadership skills, without the good communication skills, without a good problem-solving management, without a good conflict resolution problem, you won't be able to reach the performing. So this is important, that you need to polish up your soft skills. Not only as critical that your hard skill, your soft skill have to be polished up as well. So this is storming resistance, lack of participation, conflict. So this is the definition. But one final note from my presentation is that from this one, you can see that clearly what the full process life cycle of education. From you don't know anything to become you know anything. From you don't have the knowledge, then you have the knowledge. From you don't have the wisdom, then you can have the wisdom. But more importantly, the last point, which is the impact. You need to make an impact, whether it is in the society or whether it is in within your surrounding areas, within your own peers. You have to make an impact, because you can't just stop there from the knowledge. You have to push yourself to the limit and put to the barrier. I think that we should conclude my presentation. I'll hand it back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Teguh. I think it's a great presentation. Later, I will back to you if there is some question directed to you, Pak. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, the next presentation is, and the latest is Mr. Eko Supraptowibowo. Hello, Pak Eko.
Hello, good morning. Yeah.
Yeah, are you ready, Pak?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I will introduce Pak Eko. Is one of the remote worker and also a Scrum Master trainer. He is a founder of the Remote Worker Indonesia and many experience, I think. And then he graduates from the Gajah Mada University, and then many experience in, especially in the IT industry. One of his mission is stay at home, full dollars, and get alive.
Yeah.
Okay, Pak Eko, the floor is yours, Pak.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Eko, as already introduced by the moderator, and I'm working. I have been working from home since a decade ago, 2010, and along the way, I have gathered knowledge and mentoring ability that I'm pursuing in Remote Worker Indonesia. Now, the notion we have a new normal in the view of remote worker is actually just a usual remote worker normal. So, for example, you don't go to the office, you avoid traffic, you stay at home. That's actually just our usual normal. So, since 2010, me and the other remote workers doing that exactly like that. We don't go to the office. We don't even see our employer, our other staff, and we don't see any other office boy like that because we don't have an office boy. We work at home. So when everyone keep bragging about new normal, we need to adapt. We actually don't do that because we already live in that kind of ecosystem. So that's why I'm going to try my best to widen your knowledge, widen your perspective in the new normal, which actually just, as I said before, is actually just remote worker normal. I'm going to start this presentation with this post from my Facebook timeline. Mas Perdana, one of my colleagues, said that if you think back a decade ago, 22 decades ago, in 1997, we have this kind of disruption in our economy. Those who have still have their fathers, talk to your father, ask them about 1997 or 1998. That's when there is a monetary crisis in Southeast Asia and probably also the world. In terms of currency, our US dollar that usually just about 2,500 rupiah now goes up into 2010, 20,000 rupiah, almost 8,000. So 8 times. So at that time, we have lots of layoffs, business closing down, probably, hopefully not, probably also lots of suicide because of economic crisis. So we actually in the beginning of that era. This is not the end, it's actually just the beginning. So you need to adapt, you need to maintain a new course, a new paradigm that you don't need to go to the office to work. So for example, we in Indonesia have the term of Gojek, which we don't have that in, I'm not sure how to translate Gojek, but Gojek is one business that impacted directly with the COVID-19 because we are not allowed to go outside, so their income drastically low. This is one kind of disruption that we encounter, and also Those who are unable to work but still maintain their property, what can they do if they don't have the ability to adapt? They need to sell their assets. Previously they live by salary monthly or income of their business, but because the COVID-19, they need to sell their property. This is one of the economical disaster that we encounter at this time. But using remote worker view is actually a benefit because we're still working as usual. Actually, we're still working more than usual because the currency rate in US dollar is higher. So we maintain more income, but at the same time, property is lower. So a remote worker person actually having the lots of advantage in this corona because we can buy a cheaper property. Now, what about the other job area? For example, massage parlor like this, those who are blind but only able to work as a massager, they get a direct impact for them. We who can see, probably we can, well, I'm unable to do my job. Okay, I can see and work with the other. But what about this? Those who can see, what can they do? So this is one thing that we need to thought, because let's help each other like this. Now, after that, we can see the rise of stay-at-home economy. Just look at your Facebook feed, Twitter feed. We can see lots of our friends promoting their own like pizza at home, delivery for your sembako, and probably also barber shop coming to at your home. This is a good sign because we are adapting. This is a very good sign. I know my friend who is loses their job, but now they found a job, but not because they try to change the world, like Pak Dagu said. They are not changing the world, but they're changing their view of the world. This is really interesting development in our economy. Now, I'm some as an old person. I'm 40 now. I use Facebook a lot, and this is my post in 2017. This is some kind of a joke, but what I said is all the Jakarta candidate in the governor is actually making a mistake by saying that we can decrease the traffic by using busway, using ERP like that. But sorry, I don't think I have seen this. Okay, you can see that now. Okay, this is my. I'm sorry, moderator. Can you see my screen? Sorry, can you see my screen?
No, Pak. Just have by host.
Okay, actually, sorry, forgot to share this. I've been talking without screen actually. Okay, sorry. I'm missing a lot of that. Okay, sorry. This is one of my posts in Facebook, and I say that all of the candidates in Jakarta governor making a mistake, but by saying that they can lower the traffic by implementing lots of policies such as MRT, LRT, and ERP, and other stuff like the OKOC with 5,000 to every road. But that is a big mistake. Why? Because traffic is people. When people go to the street, they are the traffic. We cannot stop the traffic by making other mass transportation, but we can stop the traffic by what? By making all the people don't go outside, stay at home. This is the only solution for traffic. If you don't agree with me, let's just say for this several news. Coronavirus spreading, CO2 fall. We have cleaner respiratory, cleaner air, and other stuff like that. We also have without traffic. A word without traffic is a word where people stay at home. But can we sustain that? Can we sustain the ability to stay at home by still making our economic running as usual or maybe better? That is the main question, or that can only be answered by ourselves. Now, there are several industry area that first sustain and then increase and then decrease, or probably defeated all at all. Good news is you can really see what type of industry that you can focus on in this area. For example, I myself a programmer since 2010, but actually I learned programming since 1995 in middle school. So when people screaming of coronavirus taking off their job, I don't know about that because I'm working in the IT business who doesn't require meeting other people. The two things that informatic industry relied on is first electricity, and secondly computer itself. If these two things diminish, we are doomed. But if other things, for example, we can go to the outside, that's fine. We cannot meet other people, that's also fine. But as long as we have electricity and internet and computer, we are going to be just fine. So guys, if you are listening this, don't just rely on your current skill. For example, you are thinking yourself, okay, I see that IT is increasing, but I don't have the ability to learn IT. What can I do? You cannot say that. The resource to learn IT, coding, design, content writer, internet marketing, it's all there in the YouTube. You don't have to apply it for Prakerja card. You just go to the YouTube, search tutorial, Python, for example, tutorial, data science. You can have that free. So nothing stop you but yourself. Now I'm going to enter the term that I presented to you, which is a remote worker or kerja jarak jauh. We can also find it in the term of working from home, for example. But those are also one coin with the two sides. They're also the same. The idea of remote working is you don't go to the outside. You stay at home, push your code, push your production, produce your product, and push them, send them into client using all the internet facility that you can use, Gmail, Zoom like this, or probably Skype, and also all other technology. This is the new normal, which actually confirm of norma. Norma is something that we uphold to be true, to be a good one. So what is the norma when we say a new normal, we are thinking, so there is actually an old normal. What is an old normal? Okay, me as a remote worker already say that the old normal is actually not our normal. Our normal is this new normal. Okay, I'm going to play a slide from a famous kid show, SpongeBob. So let's see what SpongeBob say about the old normal. Itu ya. Jadi Patrick sama SpongeBob cerita, orang ini sorry, I'm using Indonesia. So SpongeBob and his friend are talking about his friend is forgetting about live in the outside. He live in the prison. But what actually they do? What actually they do is they live outside, but actually in prison. Do you want to live in prison? No, you don't want to live in prison. But our mindset telling us that living 9 to 5 is actually the normal, but actually it is not. For example, I'm going to give you some view. Okay, wait up. Yeah, this is the old normal. This is the old normal. We gather from wake up at, I don't know, maybe 5 a.m. We go sometime probably daily morning, taking a bath, having a breakfast, and then we're running to work. Probably this running to work is actually not running, probably just using bus, using other vehicle like that, and then we work 9 to 5, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's 8 hours for work. And then we tired, return back from home, take a dinner, go to bed. This is the old normal. For me, this is not normal. For me, who has been working from decade ago, this is not a normal, but this is actually become normal because we perceive that as normal. Now with this COVID-19, please, this is not normal. This is not a normal life way to live. If you have watched Bruce Willis movie titled Surrogate, this is the utopia future where we can build an android. We stay at home. This android will work, will walk, and doing all the stuff that we think, but we just stay at home. This is actually my kind of word that I like to live. For example, we stay at home, we don't get the virus, but our android just can work and we can see what our android view. Now, but this is not the future that we currently have. What currently we have is we can stay at home, we use the internet, we just push our code, diminishing this requirement to go to office, work in the office, and then tired returning back. Those of you who is programmer, but just think for yourself, can you do that job in home, at home? If you can do that, let's think, why do I have to go to the office? Your employer must give you some thought. If you don't go to the office, your performance will be low. You cannot work with your colleagues with more intense, but actually you can do that. This is the new normal for programmer. Please, programmer, if your office still asks you to go to the office, ask them, can we work on this from home? Now, this is one of picture that kind of annoyed me or upset me. He said, this is actually one of the graduate student. He said that our job had been taken by foreign people, had been taken by robot. What can we do to work? What work can we do? This is actually a sad way of expressing the knowledge they gather. This is actually not the good way. So this is the best thing that you can do for your job. If you can turn your hobby into a job, that is happiness. I know Pak Budi, Pak Teguh already said about passion. You must pursue your passion, but pursuing passion will probably give you a hard time. For example, I know there are people who work in the civil area. I've been working in Jakarta for about a year. I talked with all of civil employee, and they say that actually I don't like the job. I go from Bogor from 5 a.m. and then back to Bogor again in 9 p.m. Actually, I don't like the job. I asked him, but why do you do it? Well, what can I do but just to say thanks? So in Islamic, probably say we must have the ability to the trait of qana'ah, just accepting what we get. But actually, qana'ah should come after we do our hard job of pursuing our passion. Don't just say, okay, I'm going to take a qana'ah state at the moment and then just do what I already got. No. Why? Because you can actually pursue anything that you want. Actually, it is very good time if you are still in the 20 or 30. That's very good time. But me at the 40, maybe I just already settled. But if you're still in the 20 or 30 years of age, that will be a good time for you to pursue your passion. For example, if you want to pursue your passion pursue your hobby as a passion or your hobby as a job, you will eventually go into this self-actualization in the pyramid from Maslow pyramid of requirement or necessity. For example, if you already got into this top state, you don't work. What you express yourself, that is your work. Now, the good thing about Indonesia in the about probably 3 or 5 years previously, we already have a youth pursuing not just to work in an office or not just to work as a civil employee, but to work to build their own startup. For example, Cheo from Gojek, Pak Teguh already said, there's a good example of someone who pursuing their passion. For example, Zaki from Bukalapak, William from Traveloka, or Tokopedia, and Pak Mas Menteri from Gojek. They are youth who pursue their passion, not just adhering to the normal that pushed by our social construct. Now, I'm going to give an example of some of two company. This is before the Corona strike. Before Corona strike, WordPress, the company is automatic, already closing their very big and gorgeous company building in San Francisco. Why? Because no one want to sort out. Everyone just want to work at home. They don't want to go to the office, fighting the traffic and work in the office with the same tasks they do at home. So, well, WordPress need to close that because no one sold out. So what does it mean? They can decrease their costs for the employee. Now, Yahoo and IBM also doing that, but actually in the 180-degree direction. They don't do that. Yahoo is not allowing their employee to work remotely, and also IBM. Now, at that moment, I think it's around 2018, people are still remote workers scared because, hey, this is big company. They don't want to have their employee working remotely. What can they do? Can it be the end of remote working? But Corona come to the rescue. Corona come to the rescue, making everyone unable to go to the office. What that mean? So that mean coronavirus making everyone work at home. Company must employ everyone at home, and they start to have a problem with that. I know a friend, my colleague's friend. I say my company is requiring us to working at home, but actually it's making our life miserable because they contact us outside of office hour. That is understandable, and also we don't have a paradigm, we don't have a construct or tools to be able to manage all the people remotely without seeing each other. But the other company like Twitter, they able to do that better, and they actually employee can work at home permanently. This is a good sign for Indonesia actually. For Indonesia people, if you're listening here and you have the passion for coding, please learn what is the Twitter stack of technology behind it. I'm not quite sure. Probably some stuff around Java, Python, or probably they are using Go language. So learn that. But just look at the Twitter. Well, there is an open position. You can apply that because our world is a globe where everyone in the US sleep and we work. While we work, everyone in US sleep. So this is a good sign for us. Why? Because they need everyone still working around the globe. So that means if you apply to US job, you will get that because they still need some people who still awake when they sleep, because 24/7 working in a product IT solution is a must. So what actually we do? We just remote worker is just actually tenaga kerja Indonesia, but TKI 2.0, I don't know prioritas TKI 5.0, when we don't bring our body to their country, we just push our code, push our product from home and get money after we are pushing our job. Now, if you can open this site, remoteok.io, this is the place where I get a full-time job in a Canadian-based company. I think it's around 2016. I opened this job and I found using a Python keyword, there is a job in monetizemore.com. This is a Canadian-based company using Python, Flash, Docker, and also JavaScript. What their job do is they optimize their another client website, leveraging their current existing infrastructure, and to make their website gain more money from Google AdSense. So I'm working here as a Python developer. And what is the result? The result, I can go travel around the world. This is in Philippines with the CEO. The CEO is actually just around 20-ish person from Canada. Also, we work with other team. That white guy is a Russian guy. Now, the great thing about this company is we never meet. This is a seminar, one-day seminar in Bacolod City, Philippines. What amazed me is there are hundreds of people there. Actually, at first, I was thinking there should be actually an headquarters, an office building where they can talk, they can meet. But when I approached the CEO, he said that I asked him, Kim, do you have HQ there in Canada? He replied, no, we don't have that. Really, with this much of stuff? Yeah, we don't have that. But what if you want to, I don't know, hang out around that? Well, if we want to hang out, we just go to the coffee house, making appointment, and then we work, and then after that, we spread it. But can you imagine the cost that they already saved by just not building an office? Imagine there is no necessity for them to pay electricity, to pay for building rent. That might be around 100 million rupiah per month, actually probably more than that. And also they don't have to pay, prepare all the devices, computer like that. Why? Because all this cost distributed proportionally to all the employee. How can the company pay that? Just increasing their salary. Now, this is all the team, the core team in Maret where I work. After this, what I learned is also open upwork.com. Seek any keyword, for example, Python. You can see that about 4,000 jobs available at this time. And you can see in this post, there are 25 minutes ago job. Every minute there are jobs. So if you still jobless at this time, this is not the word that mistaken. You cannot blame the president for this. You cannot blame COVID-19 for your jobless state. You must blame yourself that you don't have the ability to work in a new normal, which I said previously, just our usual normal for remote worker. Now, also, the good thing about working remotely is you are not using rupiah for the salary. You are using US dollar. This is some kind of historic USD to IDR chart. You can see there are fluctuation in there. This fluctuation is good for me, for employee. Why? Because we don't have to do the demonstration to the company for them to raise our salary. We just wait for Indonesia, I don't know, for Indonesia political state to be chaos and other stuff like that, because the rupiah will be defeated and IDR USD will be stronger. Then we have the increasing in salary. Now I'm going to share you one month salary I have from Upwork. In 2015, where I worked intensely in Upwork.com, monthly I get the income for about 3,000 US dollar. If you are using a rupiah for that, let's say we have this 2002 586. Okay, we multiply that by 1,400. In monthly I have around 26 million rupiah. This is actually just the base salary because I have lots of time. This is actually not my work. I have staff. This staff work partly for me, and I manage them and report to company. I have salary and I distribute the salary evenly to their proportionally of their work. So if you think about in terms of salary, remote working from home is actually a good way to do, because it will give you very much salary, high salary, with still at home, and you can create a team around that. Now, the problem.
Interesting, Pak, person. But we just have the 10 minutes remaining for we will at until 12 o'clock.
Okay.
I think also we move to the question first, Pak.
Okay,
Thank you,
okay.
Pak. We will continue your presentation with the Q&A session, Pak.
Sure. You can do that. Okay. Getting.
Okay. All the participants, we have the still 10 minutes remain. The first, we open the Q&A session. The first, we will priorities from the Zoom live. I'd like to invite already raise the hand, Mr. Johnny. Mr. Johnny, hello. Please state your organization, your name, and also your organization. And directed you ask to Pak Rizky or Pak Eko, and also the Pak Teguh. Hello, Pak Johnny. I think still waiting. Maybe we just continue to the question from the YouTube. Yeah. The first is to Mr. Rizky. Some areas of competency in vocational school and some industries, business will feel the impact of industry 4.0 and also the application of new normal as impact to COVID-19. How to increase the competency of vocational graduate in new normal condition through link and match with industry. From Nurholis Kamaludin, SMK Negeri 14 Garut. Halo Pak Rizky.
Halo Pak Tauib.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, thank you, Pak, for the opportunity to answer the question. But from the chat room, I saw also question before raised to me to Pak Teguh. But as you already referred to me, it's okay. I will try to answer the question. So basically, I think from Pak Teguh, Pak Eko explanation before, we also can see that if Pak Nurholis is asking how to increase the competency of the vocational education graduates to fit out with the industry needs. So I think basically you need to identify first. Before you develop your competency, you need to identify what kind of the job that you want to fit in. Means like Pak Eko presentation, if we select our career in the ITs or the programming, so we need the Python skills. Or if we want to dive into the career as presenters or to consultant, so we need to develop our skill in the major of like HR or management or such. So I think before you develop your competencies or maybe gaining more professional certification, so I think you need to identify first what kind of the job, career, and also what kind of the industry that you need to select. I think that's all, Pak, from me.
Okay, thank you, Pak Rizky. And then move to another question to Pak Teguh. How the opportunity of my student major in chemical laboratory analysis after they graduate from school to work in industry? They have only few skill because of no industrial internship because of COVID-19. From Aster Susana, SMK Negeri 1 Tulang Riau. Pak Teguh.
Okay. First of all, I think I would like to touch base on the previous question as well. So the key is to find your true passion of yourself. I have to keep reiterating to keep mentioning about you have to keep your passion about what you want to do in your life, because that's the key. The whole talks about this is it's to inspire people to have a spark in their head that okay, regardless what my shortcomings, regardless of my challenges, I should be able to find a way to solve my issues. And I think, like, for someone who are in, so-called remote areas, and then trying to find what's so-called competency. Put it this way, mm, you you should you should look at competency is not as your ultimate goal. Competency is just a tools for you to reach your objective. Your ultimate goal is proficiency. Even so, proficiency is just another tool to reach your goal, which is your mission, what you want to do in your life. What are you trying to solve in your life? For instance, if you happen to look at, I think who's the CEO of Zoom, the platform, the one that we're using. You know what? What's really interesting? His goal was that at the time was, I live in the remote areas in China, and my girlfriend was living on the other side of China. To be able to meet to each other, he had to travel like more than 24 hours through a train to get to see to each other. And then from then on, because he was being educated as software programmers, I thought there should be a way rather than just wasting more than 24 hours to meet my girlfriend. So he came up with some sort of like, okay, there should be a way. So he tweak around, find a solution on trying to shorten that, the distance, to overcome that limitation by creating this also called Zoom. And from this one, and then it turned out to be something like, oh, if I manage to solve my problem, chances are I may not be the only one that have this problem. So along the story, he managed to convince everyone, and then he became like, the software developer in one of the competitor, which is the WebEx. And he thought something like, I need to sell my ideas. To be able to sell my ideas, I have to go to the Silicon Valley. You know what? Eric Yuan, the CEO of Zoom, got rejected to get into the US for 4 to 7 times. So he had to apply again, stop again, apply again, and finally he managed to get into the US and work as a software engineer. And then because he was so desperate while working at WebEx that the platform is not what he used to think that it should be able to help people, I might just create my own. So he went to Silicon Valley searching for VC. VC is venture capitalist. So this is one of the example and how people become resilient and trying to find solution to their needs. And from that on, and we're saying that, probably I might not be the only one that having these issues. Some other might have the same issues as well. So along then they create another opportunity. Similar to from the other case, the one that I recently presented, if you look at that one, none of them has got the capability or qualification of becoming what they call the technical engineer. But through his passion, and courage meaning something, this is going to fail. But just push through. I mean, if it is failed, it's fine. I mean, we learn from our failure. They become the source of all those engineers, the one that has already got that knowledge. So put it that way, something like you can propel yourself to become way beyond what your expectation, beyond your current potential. Only one thing, you need to find your courage and you need to find what your true passion is. Because I've seen people throughout their life career, trying to find what their passion is. This is something that I can't really give it to you, but you have to find yourself. And then once you have that passion, you can see around your community or around yourself, what sort of problem that you want to solve. And from then on, it goes, snowballing, and then it becomes something bigger and bigger. That's from my point. And if you look at, this is another something that I would like to share with you. I think 3 months ago, before the COVID thing happening, Elon Musk in his Twitter putting a link. Hey guys, because I think around 3 million people following him. Hey guys, we're gonna have the hackathon for AI. Anyone would like to jump into the hackathon, please feel free to register, and we'll do this for 24 hours. So what the hackathon is, a bunch of people working on some sort of like problems where they tweak into problems, and then once the problem has already been solved, the most engineering solution would become the winner. And the catch for this prize is that you'll be working closely with me. So, and he was saying that some of the question was that, do I need to graduate from a college, from Stanford or from that? He was saying that Elon Musk was saying, I don't really care. Even if you don't graduate from high school, I don't really care. I just want to see how your solution is, how the engineering works. So that's really a striking comment from Elon Musk, the one who really put emphasis on engineering. So if you look at that one, I mean, it pretty much destroyed the whole education institution. This is something that probably another challenges for education institution, whether they are still valid with this kind of what's so-called a condition. So this is something that we need to ponder upon. And then if you look at the one of the presentation from Elon Musk, when there was about to release about the how they can do a measurement on the distance, whether they are using a LiDAR. LiDAR is laser infrared data ranging and within using the machine learning from the OpenCV. Some of the presenter or the chief engineering is coming up to the stage, and the moderator was saying he's coming from the PhD, has got a PhD from Stanford University. You know, Stanford is just one of the top Ivy League. He's from the Stanford University, and then once the guy is stepping on the stage, Elon Musk is pretty much like brushing off the moderator, saying, like, forget about that. We have hundreds of people working who's got a PhD from Stanford, but that's irrelevant. That's what he was saying. That's irrelevant. Even though he's got a PhD from Stanford, that's irrelevant. What really relevant probably is what your true passion is, what you are putting the effort on trying to solve the problem. I think that's probably more important for us. And what I'm trying to emphasize is for those people who are probably looking at this from remote area in Indonesia or remote area in whatever place you might be, don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged by, oh, this guy is someone from a Stanford, or someone from Melbourne University, or someone from overseas university. Don't get demoralized by that. I mean, you are the master of your own destiny, and then what you need to do is you need to find your passion. Once you find your passion, you unlock the whole potential of yourself. Like I've seen before, and then I've already presented before. Someone who doesn't have any engineering degrees managed to create his own circuit board or controlling for the rocketry. That's how difficult it is. It is a control. I'm coming from the physics graduates. I know how difficult it is to control, even the balancing robots. This is, let alone this is something like rocketry. So this is beyond. And he has got no experience whatsoever. The only thing, the one that he tried to build this is just to be able to prove that I can do this, and I'm so passionate about this technology. I want to know. So that's the thing. That's a push you to, more than everyone else, because you have that passion. So what you need to do is you need to find your passion, and then once you have the passion, you just need to look around what you need to solve in the problem. Sometimes the issues is not the technical. Sometimes the issue is not the technical. It's the mindsets, what you're trying to solve. Technical is just a tools for you to help you. Sometimes people get misled by the tools, but what really important is what you need to find, what you're trying to solve the issues. I think that's from my take. And then don't get discouraged by people who are have this so and so forth views from Australia. Even though I'm from Australia, or from I live in or working overseas, but it doesn't mean that I'm much better than you. You probably have something more brilliant or brighter idea than I don't know of. So breaking down the stereotypes, and then find your true courage.
Okay, Pak Teguh. The discussion is still interesting, and but our time is over, Pak. And I see that still have many questions from participants in the Zoom and also the YouTube live. But unfortunately, the time is over. And if the participants still have any question, you can send to our email in international office email. Thank you for all participants, especially for all the speakers, Pak Rizky and Pak Teguh dan Pak Eko. Thank you, Pak. See you in the next opportunity. Great presentation. And then for that other, I'd like to inform in the last of information, would like to inform that we have the next event for International Office for the annual Engineering and Vocational Conference will be held in the September. So I think you can see our official website. Thank you, and then see you in the next event. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dadah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. Pak Eko, Pak Rizky. Semoga
Thank you.
Selamat Pak Cucu.
Thank you semuanya. Pak Teguh, Pak Rizky, Pak Cucu.
Pak Teguh, terima kasih Pak Teguh. Pak Eko, Pak Rizky.
Ya, sama-sama. Thank you, Pak.